Hey everyone and welcome. My name is Aaron Knightley, and in today's video, I'm going to be teaching you how to leave your full-time job, build a side hustle and replace your income. It's what I done, and I know there are so many problems with the corporate world, and obviously I've been putting out a lot of content on all platforms, which has now reached millions upon millions of people, which tells me that there is quite an issue, really. I feel it, I've felt the pain, I know there are problems, and there are a lot of people not feeling respected or valued or even paid accordingly, and I want to offer you a step-by-step process on how you make moves to leave your full-time job. I've done it, and I'm going to share my experiences with you. Now, many people have reached out to me since those videos have gone viral and said, Aaron, how do I leave my full-time job? So stick around because we're going to go through it. Okay, so why would you want to leave your full-time job? Well, there's many different reasons, and let's just address a few of them. And I felt all of these, by the way, so I can really relate, hence why I'm doing this video. So lack of freedom, feeling undervalued, you're not paid enough, there's a lack of respect, being spoken to in the wrong way by senior managers. This is something that a lot of us feel and that we're not willing to put up with. So we can make moves in order to change this. The realization that you don't actually have to work 40 to 60 hours, 6-7 days a week, for 50 weeks of the year in order to earn a decent salary. You don't. It's very much baby boomer stuff. There are ways now, if you're smart, working, that you can earn a decent salary doing less hours than what you're doing now. By the way, there is nothing wrong with full-time employment. I've done it, but I am offering you a step-by-step process if you want to get out of it for all of these reasons that we're talking about. Why would you want to leave your house away from your family to go to perhaps a location that's far away for all these hours, putting in all this effort, and you're not really getting the money or the value that you deserve? Understanding that smart working is so much more efficient than working hard. So again, I refer back to baby boomers. They'll always say we should work hard labor-wise, that you should be putting all this physical effort that deteriorates your body over time. You don't need to do that. We're sitting in a studio right now. This is essentially work. There is money that is earned from it. So smart working is what we can all do if you get your thinking cap on, put a plan together, and you leverage socials. To have more opportunity and options for you and your family, knowing deep down that you have entrepreneurial traits is a big one. I always had this fire in my belly that I wanted to get out of full-time employment. I think if you know that you want to be an entrepreneur, you're someone who's creative, can't sit still, has more to give, I think you'll end up going down this route anyway, and that's where I'm going to offer some step-by-step processes. Wanting to build a business that offers fulfillment. This is massive for me. If I was just to be in a warehouse for the rest of my life, I can tell you now, I'd be miserable and I would not be fulfilled, and I'd probably live with a lot of bitterness and regret. That's not for me. I'd rather die trying, as they say, than not try at all. And some people will say, but there's a lot of risk. No, there's only risk if you don't mitigate it or calculate it. There's risk in absolutely everything. Opportunity and options to have private medical care. Give your children more than what you had. To break the mold. I didn't have a lot when I was growing up. I want my family and my son to have more than what I did. So let's address some of the big issues, the elephant in the room, as I like to call it. So the major issues with full-time employment is the lack of security. Now, some of you will be going, well, full-time employment is very secure. Well, it's not. You're actually putting your earnings and your lifestyle in another employer's hands. There's nothing to say that redundancies can't be made, that you pulled into a room and that they say, we're going to have to get rid of you, we're making cuts. AI is rapidly moving, technology is rapidly moving, jobs will be squashed and squeezed until they will be reduced, especially if you are in a tech job. So that is something to be mindful of. The inability to disagree and challenge senior members. This is something I never got on board with. This is probably one of my downfalls. I'm very outspoken, I always have been, and that's a good thing. You know where you stand with me, but I have logical reasoning to why I would disagree. However, if you do that in the corporate world and you disagree, they will blackmark you and they will be on your case, and HR will know about you, and they will be looking for any wrongdoing in order to get you out, because you have now become a problem, because they don't want people who speak up. And that's the problem. You can't speak up without consequences. The corruption of HR. I want to address this. HR, human resources, they work for the employer. They are there to protect the employer, to make sure no issues happen. And if there's any internal wrongdoings, they need to squash that, make very little noise and eradicate that problem. They're not there for the employees. That's something that really bugged me. I was also sick of the backstabbing from employees, people that you would work with, this unhealthy competitiveness in order to get a promotion for a very small raise, which, by the way, we're all taxed on. on. So you don't even take the full raise of what you're getting. I was sick of that. I wanted full control to be able to climb my own ladder as fast or as slow as I want without no cap and having to compete with someone. If I earn more money now, self-employed and running my own businesses, that's down to me and my results, and I get the reward of earning more money if I put the hard work in. I'm not competing against anyone. One of the worst issues in full-time employment is that brown-nosed employee, the person who will grass up on you. And this is something you have to be very careful in the points that I'm going to make in this step-to-step process on leaving your full-time job. So the first steps to building a business or a side hustle in order to replace your full-time employment, if you choose to leave, some people may carry on working full-time or part-time whilst building a side hustle, which is awesome, more income. But the very first thing you need to do, I emphasize this massively, is block everyone on social media, the one that you already have. If you have platforms already, block them on there, and any new platforms that you create. The reason why is because if you are going to build a business, you're going to need to use socials to leverage marketing and branding and bring in customers or clients or make sales. So it's, in today's day and age, you must be on social media. What we can't have is other employees that may be happy to go along with the system, finding that you are building a business, grass upon you, tell the managers, tell the senior leaders, and then they start looking into you. Although you may be doing this outside of work and there's nothing wrong with it, you will become a problem, I promise you. So first step is to block everyone on social media, eradicate the problem of people grassing on you, because other people and their insecurities will not like the fact that you have bigger dreams than just working for someone else. There is normally a feeling of insecurities in other employees, especially of the older generation, to see someone who's young, hungry, aspiring for more. If they do find out that you are trying to build something on the side, it will normally reveal an insecurity in themselves that they haven't been able to do that. And that's why we have haters in the world, because they're not enjoying watching someone else do something that they can't. So I can't stress it enough. Please block everyone on socials. Secondly, you need to understand your why. Please tap into your why. Learn why you're actually wanting to pursue this journey. I can tell you firsthand, this is hard. Like, none of this is easy. Even sitting here doing this script, I'm doing this off the cuff, by the way, and my videographer's behind the screen. I've had some cuts. There's been some retakes, stuff like that. It's hard. So if you are going to go into this, know your reason why. I always think, I want to give my son a really good life. If you're going into entrepreneurship and you want to get out of full-time employment solely for the purpose of renting a BMW or getting the Mercedes on finance, whatever it might be, if it's a financial gain, it will be great for the short term. I can promise you, we've all been there. That's where we all start. We want to earn more money. But when you come up against the hard times, just to turn around and say, I want more money, will not push you through. So you really, really need to have a reason why. I do all of this, by the way, and I'm creating this product for my family and my son. So there you go. That's my why, and that keeps me going. Let me make it very clear. When you have your why purely on finances, it's also very, very dangerous. It can change you as a person. You can become someone that people don't really like. If you just become money and power hungry, you will change, and that's not what you want to do, because I can tell you now, you want to have as many friends around you and a support network. And if you're there and doing this for the right reasons opposed to just money, normally really good people will surround and they'll see you doing that and they'll support you, because believe me, you will need people around you when you're doing this and pursuing this journey. Finally, commit to a zero tolerance when it comes to negative people. I cannot stress this enough. You cannot have 1 ounce of negativity. You should consume both sides of the coin to get a formed, rounded balance of opinions and decisions that you're going to make going forward in this entrepreneurial journey. But you can't have people whispering and gossiping. You can't have negative colleagues at work who are talking about this and she did this and he did that and gossiping down the pub and talking behind your back. You have to get rid, because I can tell you now, mentally this is tiring. Physically it's tiring. It's amazing. There's so many ups, but there are downs as well. So you need to believe in yourself. That's very hard. To pick yourself up from hard times is extremely hard. But if you've got a great support network around you, it's so much easier to put your hand up and ask for help or ask for guidance. If you've got that poison within and you haven't got good people around you, whether that be family, friends, or whoever it might be, you need to cut them out. My advice would be, take a look at your circle of 5 and also look at the last 10 people who you've messaged or spoke to and what part do they play in your life, family or friends, and really evaluate if they're adding any value and vice versa. Here we go, step by step. I'm going to start talking through the processes of what you're going to now need to do immediately, right now, after this video. Time management and sacrifice. Get on board with this very, very fast. What's your time management like? So, for example, Jay Alderton said this very well the other week on a podcast. If we were to take your phone and look through your data usage and what apps you're using, how many hours are you procrastinating and wasting time? I guarantee all of us have got hours there during the day. So sacrifice and time management go hand in hand. So if you're going to pursue this journey, start buying back hours throughout the week, because you're going to need to go to work, put in the first shift, and then you're going to need to do a second shift. Let me just give you an insight. When I started this whole journey 10 years ago into entrepreneurship, I would work my full-time job. I would go home. I would spend time with the family. Once everyone is asleep, I would wake up, open up my laptop, and I would go get it again for 2, 3, 4 hours. And then I would get some sleep. Same happened every single day. And at times I would work on the weekend. I found my hours during the day and I was willing to sacrifice it. I go running on a Friday evening when people go out drinking and mucking about and wasting money. If you can't do those two things, don't bother. You're just being ruthless about it. Do not bother. If you cannot be honest with yourself and say, I watch far too much Netflix, I play too much Xbox, PlayStation, whatever it might be. If you can't be honest and you like these little things, we don't have time for it. In the early stages of getting yourself out of a place where you do not want to be, that maybe gives you anxiety, depression, you're getting bullied, you don't like people you're working with, HR on your back. If you want to get yourself out of that position, knuckle down, suck it up and find time and sacrifice things that are enjoyable now for delayed gratification. I can't stress it enough. And I say that with conviction for a reason, because that's what you have to do. There will be people that will watch this that will not be on board with that. Second part is to also suck up the fact that you need to make really big sacrifices. And this can be things such as you may have to delay a holiday. You may have to sell a car. Like, these are really big things. If you have a Rolex or you have something really expensive that is just sitting in a drawer that can buy you some time back, can buy you some money back, do it, because it's for the long-term gain, because you can get all that back. If you are successful at all of this, the finances will come, believe me, and you can go and get it later on down the line. Early mornings, late nights. You must put the work in. Time and accessibility during working hours. So this is absolutely key. This is what I done. I had a lot of time at my last full-time job, and I found hours during the day. Okay, so you've got to find hours to build your brand, to market, to social, to post, to connect, to do the emails, to work on LinkedIn, to do your website. Find the pockets during the day of full-time employment. And I shouldn't say this, but if you can do any extras while you're at full-time employment, then see what you can do. But put in the hours and find that time during your working hours so you can leverage that, okay? And also keep learning. If you have a commute back and forward to work, learn. Download Audible and keep learning. Keep filling your mind with extremely positive, inspiring blueprints of success. And then when you get to work, keep hustling, keep it going. But find those working hours and see what you can do on your business. Now you need to figure out what kind of business that you're going to build. Something that cash flows, okay? We're not looking here to invest, so you need to find a business online. I can't decide that for you. I can only inspire you to go and find something online. You need to benefit from social media branding, marketing, sales online, and something that is scalable, and perhaps you can start building a team on a commission-only basis. Start thinking of a business like YouTube. I was talking about it in a podcast of mine. It's one of the only businesses, and it is a business, by the way, that actually has needles to show you when you are successful, when you start generating revenue. It tells you when you've completed it. That's what I done when I was in full-time employment. Well, one of the online incomes. So find something online. It's really, really important. I can't make that decision for you, but it has to be online. You have to be able to scale, and the bigger your brand and the bigger your marketing, the more money you're going to make. The sooner you can replace your job. Finally, time frame has to be realistic. Look at this as an 18-month plan. So if you're in full-time employment now and you do want to leave, think 18 months of hard work. And there's some key things in here. You need to save for your exit plan. So when I was leaving my full-time job, and on the day that I decided to do it, I was blessed that I had saved for many, many years. I've always been a saver. I've never really been a big spender. So I had a big, big buffer that I felt comfort that any point I had enough and that I was not willing to be a part of this toxic corporate lifestyle. And by the way, For nearly 10 years, I loved my job, by the way. I had so much fun. I had some of the best times in my life, but things had changed rapidly. Technology was changing. They were not treating people the way that we should be treated. Respect had gone out the window, and it was all about the managers. You know, too many cooks spoil the broth situation. So I saved for a long period of time that left me in a great position that when I decided to leave my job, I had a buffer to last me a very long time. And by the way, I've never actually had to use that buffer because I had the income coming in anyway. So my final point on leaving the full-time job is you must have a buffer. If you have debt, that's your first thing to clear. Be really smart with money. If you want to reach out and you want to know more, then you can book a call with me on a one-to-one basis. But I hope everything that I've said here was relatable. It's very simplistic. It's step by step. Follow all of that and stick with it and be realistic on your time frame. Go for 18 months. Get your head down. Don't talk to too many people about your plans because believe it or not, people who are bitter and envious and perhaps jealous, they will ruin your plans in a heartbeat. So stay quiet about it, ASMR style. And I hope you enjoy this and I'll see you all very soon.